7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, welcome to the program. It's August the 12th. You're with the Editor-in-Chief live with Lester's Oil, your multi-ingredient omega-3 healthy aging supplement backed by thousands of satisfied customers. Get the benefits of 6 supplements in one capsule to support joint, heart and brain health. Take as directed. Read the label. About Health Auckland. G'day, folks. Good morning to you. I'm Duncan, Garner. Welcome today. The Olympics by the numbers, and boy, these are good. 10 golds, 3 silver, 7 bronze. So that's 20 medals all up, and that's really impressive. More golds in Paris than at any other Olympics than we've been to. So much to celebrate, so well done to the Kiwi team. But you've heard the saying, the good, the bad and the ugly, right? So we'll mention the All Blacks as well. We'll have a chat about them. Plus the controversial Kiwi. He's a DG convert. He's back with me to talk about the shabby treatment that our supermarket workers are getting. We'll look at that. And Women's Health Week with Megan Alatini. I will gently navigate perimenopause and menopause and look at women's health. And why did we take so long to get to Women's Health Week? I'm Duncan Garner. Jump on the YouTube and TikTok link. Leave a comment. It's news time. Here's MediaWorks Deputy News Editor. It's Grace Cocker. Very good morning to you.
A stunning victory for Elise Andrews in the women's sprint at the Olympics overnight. The Kiwi cycling stars thrilled to win gold after beating the reigning Olympic champion, the world champion and the world record holder along the way on Sky Sport.
I'm really proud of the way that I raced physically but also mentally.
Meanwhile, cycling teammate Ali Wollaston has capped off New Zealand's Olympic campaign with bronze in the women's Omnium. The final medal tally is 10 gold, 7 silver and 3 bronze. The Police Association is frustrated at being excluded from talks about gun reform. In an open letter to the Prime Minister, it calls for Associate Justice Minister Nicole McKee to be stripped of the responsibility. President Chris Cahill says she's not impartial.
We're being excluded by a minister who clearly is more interested in talking to the gun community than actually those that could be most affected by changes to the registry.
A plea for people in Gisborne to keep a lookout for a missing child. The 4-year-old wandered off from a Tiniroto property yesterday afternoon wearing only a nappy and a green long-sleeve top. RNZ News reports around 300 people from the area joined in a search last night. Wellington Water will begin excavating the site of a broken wastewater pipe in Eastbourne this morning. It could take several days to fix, though. Spokesperson Jeremy McGibbon says the pipe is an estimated depth of 2.5 metres.
Which is in the tidal zone once you get down that deep. So it's going to be quite tricky once we've got down there, just keeping the work area dry.
Israel believes Iran has decided to attack the country directly in the coming days. The new intelligence marks a departure from recent reports that Tehran was thinking its harsh response. A shirtless man has been arrested for climbing the Eiffel Tower. He was spotted on the iconic landmark just hours before the Olympics closing ceremony. It's unclear where he began the ascent, but he was spotted near the second section of the monument. And in back to sport, and a gut-wrenching loss for the Warriors. They've been beaten in a golden point extra time by the Dolphins, going down 34-32. That's news in sport.
Good stuff, Grace. And of course, that's a major distraction in the Olympics, you see. So we've forgotten about the Warriors, and the distraction's been the Golden Games, and the All Blacks, we've forgotten about them too. But 10 golds, our most ever. That's brilliant, isn't it?
Huge. I think it ties us now with what we had in Tokyo medal hall-wise.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
More golds, though.
More golds. So
and the women have been doing it. It's the women that have represented this time around, I have to say.
Yeah, no, I say it too, and well done.
100%.
More golds in this Olympics than any other Olympic Games in our history.
Yeah, we've done really well. And if you see just, there's even those that are getting the bronze and silvers, we're seeing just such an elite, just so many elite athletes coming together from this country.
Do you have a favourite gold? Favourite gold? What about the high jumper?
I think the high jumper, I know I was just praising the woman, but I think because that was so unexpected and I wasn't personally paying much attention to the athletics, and then watched the jump off and went, oh gosh.
And he took off afterwards, running around the grass.
Yeah, it was great. But of course, like the kayakers, we've got the cyclists, Elise Andrews has done amazing.
Yeah, brilliant.
Huge effort there. And then there's been the great breakdancer from Australia who needs a shout out, who's become the Olympic icon.
Yep, that's us. Well done. Good stuff, Grace. Okay, so on this podcast just last week, a Woolworths supermarket worker revealed just why that they're going on strike. She painted a horrible, quite a scary picture of daily abuse and violence and threats, and all for the princely sum of about $24.93 an hour base wage. That's low, isn't it? The knives and nunchucks and New Zealand's nutters and numbskulls and nincompoops, all for just under $25 an hour. They've got to put up with all this sort of stuff. Just above the minimum wage and nowhere near the living wage, of course, which is much higher. They're called essential workers, but that's the nicest thing said about them, really. Otherwise, it's just a low-paid gig and abuse from the public. They're often spat at, punched at daily, abused, verbal abuse. And our new BFF, the controversial Kiwi, often speaks out against the supermarkets. And now he's doing it again for the workers, going to bat for them, and good on him too. So what is he hearing? And is it just Woolworths, or is the problem much more widespread? The controversial Kiwi is back for more. Nice to see you, mate. Yeah, good to be back. Nice to have you in here. So what's we heard from last week? Terrible. It was actually a really confronting interview, what we heard last week.
Yeah, and what you heard there was, just a small snippet of what's actually going on within the supermarkets. I'm getting messages on a constant basis. I've actually bought a few today to read to you guys.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, go. Let's go. As graphic and as confrontational as we need to be. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just. I'll read a couple to you now if you like. This is just a small snippet of what I'm getting.
Yep.
So obviously confidentiality for these people. So we're not gonna divulge any names, but messages I'm getting. I'm a duty manager at a supermarket and get less than the living wage. Excuse me. And the bullying within the company is crazy. When I work there, some of this writing's not that great. When I work there, they bully us into doing jobs that should be for 3 people.
Yeah.
It's just as bad on the night shift being understaffed for the level of work expected. In the last year alone, I've had constant shifts of being the only one in store against my safety. So that's at night time.
Yeah. That'd be pretty eerie, wouldn't it, being in a supermarket on your own at night?
Oh, shocking.
If you're the only one there.
Yeah, but the one that resonates the most is this one here.
Take your time with this one so people can hear it.
Yeah. If you want to speak to a worker, I am more than happy to answer any questions as I work for Woolworths. It's sad to hear that some of our staff have to shop elsewhere because they can't afford the groceries in the store. They even work with a 10% discount, and secondly, Woolworths divert foods to food banks, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. But their own staff are using these food banks to feed their families. Even 35 hours per week is not enough to get by.
So with 35 hours, even with a 10% discount, staff discount, they are not shopping there because they can't afford it.
They still can't afford to work there.
It's pretty confronting, isn't it?
Yep. And some of the messages which I haven't read out are even more damning than that.
Well, go on. This is a podcast. We're open to it.
Yeah, I'm getting messages of... I brought up security guards last time I was here, and I'm getting messages where staff are being told to follow... offenders around closely, which antagonises the situation.
How do they know who's offending? From previous behaviour, I suppose.
No, it's not from previous behaviour. They're watching them, obviously, from cameras, and then they'll see somebody pop something in a bag or whatever the case might be, and then they'll follow them. They follow them around in twos, and the offenders will turn around.
But if they're stealing things, is that not the right thing to do?
Well, why? No, definitely not the right thing to do.
If they're stealing?
Well, if they're stealing things, why would you follow them around closely and antagonise them and put themselves in a situation? They haven't been trained, Duncan.
Yeah, they haven't, because they want their goods back?
Well, what's worth more, goods or yourself?
Yeah, well, it's yourself.
Exactly.
But they won't touch them. They're not going to touch them because that's the rules, right?
There has been cases where, and I can't divulge too much, but there have been cases where staff have been told to at least grab the basket or grab the bag or whatever. They haven't done that. And then they have been reprimanded afterwards. Now, I've got videos of this happening, so private videos
sent to you.
Sent to me,
yeah,
of staff that are videoing being reprimanded by Woolworths managers for not either grabbing the bag, the basket, or whatever the case might be.
They're in a no-win situation. At $25 an hour, you're trying to rip something off someone who's, who might be pretty charged about this too, emotionally charged.
Oh, 100%.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, they are in a no-win situation.
Yeah. Well, you've seen it in the video. Some of the videos outside the warehouse and places, the punch-ups and.
Oh, and this is not just Countdown. This is Pack and Save in New World as well. So I'm getting hundreds of messages a week.
Is this from supermarkets right across the board?
Right across the country.
Both owners?
Right across the board, from supermarket staff saying, can you go into bat for us at Pack and Save? Can you go into bat for us at New World? Because we've got the same issues here.
God, I was at Pack and Save last night in Mount Albert. My goodness. There's so many people there.
Oh,
it's almost unmanageable. It's almost become unmanageable.
Yeah, it's shocking.
For everyone.
It's shocking. And you got to look at Woolworths or Progressive as a company now. Through COVID, these guys made astronomical amounts of money.
Do we know what they did make? Do we know what their last financial...
I do, but I haven't got it with me.
Well, we're talking what, though, in vicinity?
Oh, it was in the billions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are wealthy companies.
Oh, they're huge.
Yeah.
And now the latest thing to come out is, Commercial Director Peter DeWitt has introduced localised pricing. Now, what he's saying with that is he's saying that we're going to introduce localised pricing, and what that means is that we're going to try and price our groceries to the demographics in those particular areas.
Yeah, and they do. I see that. I see it. I see that something's $2.50 in, say, back in Mount Albert, which $4.50 in St Heliers.
Yep, but what they've done is the recent stats that I've done over the last couple of weeks, the increase in the grocery price in the South Island is to compensate for reducing the prices in the North.
Yeah.
So what Woolies are trying to do is say that we're trying to do all these good things to help Kiwis. It's a load of bullshit. They're robbing Peter to pay Paul, increasing the prices in the South Island to decrease the ones in the North Island.
Yeah, they'll get their money back somehow.
Oh, they'll always get their money back.
And that big fine that they now have to pay for the anti-competitive behaviour.
Okay, there's another...
That, on my view, is that'll be passed on. Consumers
100%.
will pay for that.
Yep. So the other thing is, Woolworths are a company renowned for not answering questions. So you ask them direct questions, they fail to answer them. So back in the day, I appeared on the AM show twice. They were invited on twice.
Great show.
They failed to show.
Yeah.
I asked them to be able to go through the meat processing plant in Wiri, which provides 98% of meat and poultry to Woolworths. Yep. They failed to let me go through. You asked them questions a while ago and he failed to answer them properly.
Well, he said he didn't know.
Well, he said they know exactly what they're talking about. Now, DeWitt recently has also failed to answer questions around how Woolworths has reconciled its strategic findings on the Commerce Commission's on the Commerce Commission's findings on the price gouging and the excessive profits that the supermarkets are pulling in. Another question that DeWitt has failed to answer.
But how come they can? How come it's like a bit like with petrol? But how come some item is $5 at one store and $2.50 at the other? Because they're lost leaders? Because it can't always be the case that something's a lost leader. No. It's simply that they've just racked up the prices.
Well, and it's different again because Woolworths is owned by Progressive, so it's owned by a large corporation.
Yeah, these are Australian firms.
Correct.
Yep.
Whereas New World and Pack and Save are under the Foodstuffs Co-op, but they're all individually owned, so they're franchised.
Do you think you get a better deal there?
You get a better deal at Pack and Save.
Yep.
So now the stats which I've got, so Pack and Save is the cheapest. Yes. Followed by New World. And Countdown.
New World second.
New World is second, and Countdown is the most expensive.
Yeah, Woolworths. Countdown Woolworths.
Yeah.
Look at the rebrand. Look at the rebrand. At a time when we're all doing it hard, you put in $400 million on some new stickers.
Well, $400 million on a rebrand, and they can't pay their staff what they're worth.
Mm-hmm. Is the other company better at paying? Do you know?
They're all much of a muchness, so it depends on how you go up in rank. So duty manager, staff, floor, checkout, they're all completely different.
Right. But at $24.93, we worked out that Woolworths have the lowest pay.
Correct.
So if you start at New World or you start at Pack and Save, you're more than that if you start?
Well, you'll hear different stories from different workers. So some will say we get paid more, some will say we get paid less, but that will obviously be determined on their experience and all those type of things.
So if you're a supermarket worker watching this right now, if you're on TikTok, you're on YouTube, whatever, tell us what you paid. Just let us know. Leave a comment down the front there and it'll come straight through. We'll talk about it straight away.
Yeah, and I mean, Woolworths staff are not asking for anything out of the ordinary. They're asking for a decent living wage. They are asking for appropriate security, and they are asking for more staffing numbers. They're simply understaffed. They don't get paid enough, and they're not protected.
What should a supermarket worker be paid on their first day? What should an entry level hourly rate be?
I think they should be just above the living wage at least.
Yeah, so $27, $28
at least that. Yeah. I mean, clearly what they're getting paid at the moment. I mean, as I say, I'm getting hundreds of messages a week of thanks for going to bat for us. I hope their union is fighting hard for them, but.
They can afford it. The company can afford it. There's no doubt about that. So they choose to pay these people this.
The company choose to pay their staff less. Look, I've got probably several messages from if we go back to the rat infestation at Dunedin.
Yes. Now you fight about that one, aren't you?
Look, that took months to close down, and I had to get involved with MPI. So I had to get involved with Vince Arbuckle at MPI to actually get them closed down. They refused to close on numerous occasions, put their staff at risk from several different diseases that rats cause. They didn't fumigate the property when they finished with it. Yeah. They didn't do any infrared scanning. The staff had to clean by themselves. I've got messages.
You get commercial cleaners in on that. That's what you do. You get the rat guys in. Yeah?
I've got messages from staff saying they went home and had showers because they felt dirty after cleaning up after rats.
It's like working at Parliament. You go home and you have a shower and you're still feeling dirty.
So you tell me that this is a company that cares about their staff.
Oh, no, I think we're now on the same side.
Oh, well, yeah, we are, mate.
Hey, the Controversial Kiwi, I appreciate your time on the programme.
No worries, mate.
Good on you, mate. Lots of feedback coming in. We'll have a chat to Dave shortly. He's on the phone. James says we're being robbed by supermarkets and they're treating their staff like shit, paying them peanuts. Andrew says to me, I won't give you a second name, Andrew, I've been shoplifting from New World or Portuguese for years and I've never been caught. Don't be an arsehole, Andrew. Dave... Yeah, Woolies chickens waterlogged. Okay, that wasn't today's issue, but I know what you're saying. And worker protections and rights have been eroded. Dave, we'll take your call. Good morning.
Morning, Duncan.
How you going?
Pretty good. So when I used to work for Pack and Save, they would use staff as security guards as well. I got punched in the face several times, And the only reason it stopped is because the warehouse out in Hamilton East, a lady followed shoplifters out into the car park to catch their license plate, and they ran her over.
They ran her over?
No more going outside. They crashed right into her. She was standing between two cars, and they just piled into between the two cars and smashed her.
No, you're really vulnerable. Did you smack the guy back? He smacked you or not?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. Hey, I'm not going to take a punch in the face for. At that time, I was on like $21. Like, I'm going to take a punch in the face for nothing. They asked me to go grab the basket. I grabbed the basket. You know, otherwise your boss gets mad. You can't. What do you mean no?
Yeah. No. I mean, who'd be a worker in these places on that pay? Well, a lot of people, because that's an entry level job. That's what people are doing. That's what you have to do. So many students and everything, and they're vulnerable. They are openly vulnerable.
There's people trying to pay their mortgage and support their families. It's not just young people that work at supermarkets. There's people of all ages in their 40s and 50s just trying to make it by. And some of those people I've talked to when I was working there struggled to pay their mortgages. And this is back in 2019. One guy left and went to Bunnings and then tried to recruit everyone to go to Bunnings because they were paying him like $26 an hour when he showed up. Yeah,
but that's the thing. Shop around if you can for a job. But at the moment, shopping around for a job is there's too many people in the market now. You see, that's what we get with unemployment. Yeah. Dave, I appreciate your call, mate. Appreciate the call.
Thanks, Duncan.
Good on you, mate. We'll keep talking about this. Send us your feedback or TikTok and YouTube. It's all online there. I got this embarrassing story out of Pack and Save a couple of years back. I was in there and I thought I'd forgotten my card, so I was digging around for it in the back. And one of the workers, and she'd always said hi to me. Hey, Duncan, how are you? An older sort of Asian lady. She said to me, "I'll pay for that." I said, "No, you're not paying for this." It was $40. I'm not paying. She put out her card, swiped it for me. She was a worker. She paid for my $40 for the groceries. So embarrassing. I've tried since to put money in her pocket, since to pay for stuff. She just won't have a bar of it. That's highly embarrassing. Anyway, good morning to you. Thank heavens for the greatest distraction on planet Earth right now, right? Which is the Olympic Games, and it's been a fantastic one too. Gary and I were a bit slow to start. Is this going to be a negative games? No, it's brilliant. We're in the midst of a new golden dawn. While the All Blacks, their name is befitting. She's dark in that camp. But 10 golds, more golds than any other games we've been to. Big G, Gary D. Take a bow, mate. We've done really well, haven't we?
Absolutely. I'm so pleased to be wrong. At the start of this Olympics.
Is this the first time since 1970?
I don't admit it often.
You're a man.
Look, I didn't think we would get near 20. I think I said 12 or 13 at the start of this Olympics, but
this is one we want to be wrong on.
We nearly got 12 golds, let alone
But
20.
10 golds, if you go back in our
10
Olympic
golds
history,
is fantastic.
it's the best ever.
Yeah.
So in our Olympic history, we have never done 10 golds.
No, that is by far our best. I think 8 we had previously back in LA.
And the women have, New Zealand's women have, and take a bow. You know, you have stood up and you have been counted, and you're brilliant. You know, well done.
Absolutely, outperformed the guys by a long shot. Yeah. But
some guys did well too.
Absolute standouts in Dame Lisa Carrington and Elise Andrews. Individual performances by those two have been phenomenal.
Haven't they, though? And I'll say more about Carrington shortly, but she's not just a great New Zealand Olympic, she's a great Olympian worldwide.
Yeah, she's up there now.
She's a global giant now.
She is. She's got to go down as one of the global greats of the Olympics.
So 8 golds for her over time and 1 bronze.
Yeah.
Can she come again?
Well, she hasn't ruled it out.
I know.
And look, I wonder, and going out on a limb saying that the single might be a stretch in another 4 years.
What would we know?
But yeah, absolutely. You'd never put it past her.
No,
but certainly as somebody in a crew of 4 or in a 2, I wouldn't rule her out.
She's got the young talent coming through as well.
Absolutely.
People seem to follow her as well.
Yeah.
And a nice person to boot. I love the high jumper. Running
How
around
good
after
was that?
On the grass. The javelin was about to take off.
What a gutsy call.
Yeah.
They could have shared the gold, and credit to the American bloke that came second as well. The two of them straight away agreed
now, what's his
to
name?
a jump
No
off.
one remembers second, Gary.
No. Second's the first loser. No, look, honestly, that was great sportsmanship from the two of them to say, let's actually do this properly and have a jump off.
And then when the American guy missed it, and then it came to Kerr, and boy, where did he come from? What a
I know,
brilliant
right?
athlete.
Oh, look, he was world number 1 coming into this.
Yeah, but that's the great thing about the Olympics. It puts these guys on the stage for New Zealand to acknowledge.
And I'll tell you what, the American guy must hate that height.
Yeah,
because he missed it twice and only made it on his 3rd jump to
do you know how high it is?
Get to the last 2.
Yeah.
And then on the way back down again, he missed it again.
So if you're sitting at home or whatever listening to this, the stud of a door. So you got your wall and you got your door, and then you go up a standard, go up another few inches
Yeah.
above the door height. Okay, that's where you're jumping over.
Amazing, eh?
It's remarkable, isn't it?
Absolutely
okay, I'll say this
incredible.
really, really quickly. All Blacks.
Yeah. I want to say the less you say, the better.
Yes.
And again, I should have thrown some money at them. I don't. I
You
never.
said $7. Yeah.
I said $7. They were a far better side
You
than
said
$7.
that,
The
yeah.
Argentinians, and I thought that was well over the odds because they'd beaten France in their previous game.
You called it, mate. I saw it in the weekend.
But I can't bet against the All Blacks. It's not in my nature. But maybe I need to change my nature because I could have made a fortune. But yeah, look, it was. I think the All Blacks did enough to win.
No, they didn't.
No, well, yeah, they did enough in terms of the way they played the match, but they
first half.
just didn't execute those last.
Yeah, last 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I don't. It's not what you expect from the All Blacks.
So they were listless. They were like the Alatini in the Marlborough Sounds. They just started to just drift off.
Yeah,
and there was no accuracy and lack of leadership almost.
Well, and it says it all with that try to Creevy, the two passes that went to nobody that went back, and that. When have you ever seen two wayward passes like that in a row from the All Blacks?
From the All Blacks, never. My son's training most of the time.
Yeah.
The thing about the Creevy is that he's 39 years of age.
I know, what a machine.
He's an Argentinian legend who's never beaten the All Blacks in New Zealand.
I know. Look, and to some degree, that's nice for him because he's such an amazing bloke.
Yeah, and if you wanted to be an international rugby player, you want to be someone like him, because he's done the journey, and a brilliant win.
Respected worldwide.
I thought Razor looked a bit shell-shocked.
He did.
Welcome to international rugby in defeat.
Yeah. And that's the reality of the international game. It is a step up, and he's taken it on the chin. His chats that he's had since then, he's been pretty realistic about it. I wonder how much the knives will come out if the Eden Park record goes this week.
So the test of a really good side is if you can beat the All Blacks twice in a row, right? So you now turn around and have to beat them at Eden Park. Now, then a couple of years ago, the Argentinians were here. They won in Christchurch, turned around, went to Eden Park, got slaughtered. Got spanked. And so if they can do it, then they are a truly great side. But that's the test. They know this too.
Oh, yeah.
And they're heading into this week thinking the All Blacks will come at us because the All Blacks, they will fight like buggery for this Eden Park record.
Nobody wants to be the first All Black team or coach to lose that Eden Park record.
Oh, my goodness, no. Razor, I think, he's looking for some solutions here. The solutions remain within the team, but they don't look well coached right now because he's going through that transitional phase, but at some stage, have we got the players? Are the All Blacks playing the game, and do they have the same right players to win international rugby anymore?
Well, that's the big thing is we're using the same players. So Razor hasn't actually made a heck of a lot of changes.
He's got Kane
in personnel.
In the squad. I wonder if they should play Kane. Papali'i to me looked missing on the weekend.
Oh, absolutely. I found it very interesting they didn't play Kane because he hasn't had enough rugby, but they did put Will Jordan, albeit on the bench, who also hasn't had rugby.
Is this a case... Were the All Blacks cocky? Did they underestimate Argentina? Did they think they just had to turn up to win? And if that's the case, that's well and truly been knocked out of them. Good.
I don't think so. I don't think that's in their nature. I don't think they were cocky, but I think perhaps they're just still trying to find their feet. They can't take any longer.
Yeah.
Because, look, the Rugby Championship was already looking a bit dicey because they didn't even get a bonus point.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so the Warriors, the only thing golden about them was they got to the golden point.
Yeah. Look, and I have to say I feel for them because in that second half they looked the better team and I thought they were going to get across the line and but the drop goal attempt from Chanel Harris-Tavita was a long shot. It was from the sideline, and the social media keyboard warriors are out taking him on again. It's like, I'll get off you.
Give him a break.
High horse.
Yeah. The Warriors have now lost 13 games this year. It's just too many.
It is.
Next year will be the year.
Yeah.
We always say that. Do you have anything else to add, Gary?
No, the less you say about the Warriors right now, the better. Although I've got to say that Andrew Webster, he doesn't know if there's a mathematical chance or not, but he said we'll keep fighting until
it's out of their hands. That's the problem. Someone else is, someone else is in control.
But they never give up.
Gary, we could have been $700 richer if we put $100 on the RGs.
Yeah,
but we would have been like Pratts, wouldn't we? Betting against the All Blacks. You do it privately and quietly.
Yeah. You can't crow about it, can you?
Oh, good on you, Gary. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Well done. Let's do 3 questions.
3 questions from the Editor-in-Chief.
So number one. So is Lisa Carrington now our most famous Olympian? Well, since we last mentioned this, she's won 2 more golds. So all up 8 golds, 1 bronze from 4 games. Only 7 Olympians in the entire history of the Olympic movement from all countries have more medals than her. So she's truly up with the giants of the global sporting movement. In my eyes, she's the greatest Olympian to come out of New Zealand. And she's not finished yet. If you're on YouTube and TikTok, agree or disagree, let us know what your thoughts are. Let's go to 2.
2.
At number 2 today, has our education system become a joke? And what does that even mean? Well, answer is yes, and it has. Here's why. A top Auckland secondary school principal told me over the weekend that the Education Ministry, overseen by successive governments, has effectively made NCEA too easy. So the qualification's worth 2/5 a zip. He said the whole approach is to everyone must pass and have fun, which sounds like, that's cool, it's cool. But nothing's hard anymore and no one should fail is apparently what it is. And number 3.
3.
What can we believe? Well, not much. Another week, another case of made-up bullshit from Trump. He claimed to have been in a chopper with a certain politician once and they survived. This crash, they almost crashed, he said. What's wrong? It just simply did not happen. That's it. End of story. Didn't happen. Okay, that's us. Right, lots of feedback coming in. Education's been a joke for decades, says Tooks, and James has said he had lots of late nights watching us win gold. I'm still asleep, and I've been deprived of sleep all because our athletes have excelled. Amy was a bit tough on herself, but she did well, I think, as well. Hamish Kerr's gold was impressive, and it was a standout for me, says MB. And your favourite win was... the Olympics Wahine Tour. Yeah, that's what Moana says. Our women did so well, didn't they? The women are the story of this games. The women are the story of this games. Right, let's talk women. Did you know that in Aotearoa there's Men's Health Week, Blue September and Movember, but not a second, minute, hour, day or week dedicated to women's health? They just simply don't have it. So all these men's things, but nothing to do with women. While other countries have established Women's Health Week, and we've overlooked the opportunity to do the same. Megan Alatini joins us now to talk about women's health and why it deserves its hour in the spotlight, or at least a week in the spotlight. Kia ora, g'day.
Kia ora, good morning,
nice
good
to see
day.
you.
More than an hour, please. We've decided we need a whole damn week for it and then some.
And so you're pushing this. So what's it called? What do you call it?
So Tend,
Yep.
which is our digital medical practitioning platform, they've decided, hey, we're going to call this Women's Health Week New Zealand.
And so what will you focus on, but in particular to women's health? What is it you want people to know?
There is so much to focus on and so much to know. I mean, for me personally, the reason why I'm a part of it is because I thought, God, things are changing in my older years. The body is expanding.
Yes.
The hormones are all over the place. And so for me personally, it was a menopause kind of reach out.
So we don't often talk about menopause.
We don't, because there's just so much to it. And I think sometimes it's a little bit embarrassing. You kind of feel like you're out there on your own going through these issues.
That's why we need to talk about it.
That's why we need to talk about it and have a bit of a community. There's heaps of us wahine out there, right? But in this case, we've actually dedicated a topic per day just to make it a little bit more focused, a little bit more pinpointed and intentional. So today, for instance, Monday is going to be all about periods and what are the signs and symptoms. What do we talk to our young kids about when it comes to these issues?
Look, so I've got sisters. So I grew up in the house. We knew what was going on and everything. But there's a lot of men, and men need to be part of Women's Health Week.
Absolutely.
Because if we don't understand, then you only half understand it, you see?
Duncan, you see, I'm all about let's not preach to the converted. I actually want to talk to men about it because, hello, we're brothers, sisters, whānau members, we're all in it together, right? And maybe we can just understand each other a little. If you're thinking, hang on, somebody's a bit grumpy this week, why could that be? Possibly health.
And so menopause, what is peripause, isn't it?
But perimenopause, not bad. You were close, Dunk. Not quite there. But I do want to encourage people. We've got a really fabulous website. So if, our listeners, our readers and our watchers can go to www.womenshealthweek.nz. There's actually this neat little... segment where you can do your health personality, do a bit of a quiz. It tells you, you're really onto it, or you go into Dr. Google, or actually you need to talk about things a little bit more.
What did yours come up with?
My one said that I am doing okay, but I bloody well can do better, and that is so true. I don't mind having the conversations, right? But it's more about, okay, how do we go a little bit deeper into some of those topics? So that's why I'm here advocating for that.
But men still don't live as long as women in New Zealand.
Well, come on, after all of the tenacity that we have to have dealing with you guys and then some.
But we die first. We die first. Eh?
Do you?
Yeah, we die first, I think, by a couple of years.
I think you guys just give up, hey?
Yeah, and this is the thing. It's a sacrifice. I've got my mum and everything. I think women sacrifice more than men.
Well, I would like to say in my whānau, I'm really grateful. I've got great male figures who support, which is great.
Yeah.
But there are sacrifices. You know, when we're childbearing, you've got that whole way up of, do I do the mum thing and the career pathway? So there's lots of things to weigh up. But in saying that, I think it helps us be a little bit more tenacious. And if that means we're living longer for that reason, great. If we look after our health, maybe we can outlive you guys even more.
Oh, we don't want that. You want to bring us up.
We do.
Drinking's an issue, isn't it? Women drink.
Yeah, big time. And actually, I personally, again, I did so much more drinking during those bloody lockdown periods. I was trying to figure out, why is it that there's been a little bit of health gain? Yes, I'm not as active these days, but then I realised, I think it might be a little bit more of the extra alcohol intake. So that's something I personally want to work on, a bit of a detox. You've talked about
that. You've been hit on with that too. You've talked about that. I've read something last night where you talked about, just simply drinking too much.
You got to be real about those things. And again, is it because sometimes we internalise things so much that then instead of talking about it, we take to a bottle or we take to something else? And so again, it's just encouraging each other to say, hey, we're here for each other.
Yeah. And what about long term? So this is the first year of it, right?
It is.
Well done.
In Aotearoa, it's been happening all around the world, but this year Tend have decided we haven't had the spotlight on ourselves when it comes to
slow, haven't we?
the medicine and the medical side of things. So yes, it's the first time in New Zealand.
And in terms of dollars in the health system, it depends on what you read, but women actually do get a fair chunk of it. If you look at the official stats, it may not feel like it.
And so we should.
because you have babies.
And then some.
Yeah. So what is it? What else are the other days dedicated to? So we've got menopause, we've got periods.
We've got cervical cancer. Yeah. We now can have a self-screening test, which some people aren't aware of.
Yes.
We'll be talking about what are the differences when it comes to heart attack signs and symptoms, which may be differently presented in men. So many other things. And so I'm just going to say it again, get to that website. I'm encouraging you to get there too, Duncan.
I'm going to have a look.
And we can see who's had a little look-see, so I'm going to expect Duncan Garner's name over there.
Okay, so that means I'm being watched.
You are.
I'm going to be held accountable.
Not big brother's watching, big sister's watching.
I've got one of those too. Hey, all the best, and good on you for. I think you're the perfect face for it because you're lively, you're vibrant, you're credible. You've lived.
I am living, breathing, and long may that last.
Yeah. In terms of what's the thing that women? Is there one thing that women die of? Is there one thing that overwhelmingly they die of more than anything else?
I can't answer that. I'm not going to put my hand up and say I'm a medical guru or expert. I'm not qualified. We do have the doctors to help us with those stats.
Yes.
But I'm going to do a little bit of research myself now that you've posed that challenge to me.
I've just had a word in my ear. I don't know who from, but apparently women die from frustration from men.
Oh, you guys are getting a hard time this morning. Look, maybe that could be true. I don't have the facts, but let's do better with that too, eh?
Okay. Hey, all the best. Good luck. You're perfect for this, so go well.
Amazing, and thank you so much for having us and promoting this too.
First day, we're part of this now. Woo! Yeah, good on you, Megan. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Okay, feedback coming in. Oh, wow, cool, Megan. Will you be at the Women's Lifestyle Expo in Hams? Are you going to the Hamilton for the Women's Expo Lifestyle?
If they can invite me, I'm there. Everything on my socials is Megan Alatini. Hit me up. I'm all for it.
You heard it there. What have you done to yourself? Are you on crutches? No, what are you on?
I'm just having a little bit of a wobble around. A wet wood, a plastic heel. After a couple of vinos is not the way to go. You heard it here first. I broke it.
This is Women's Health Week and you broke your ankle on the eve of it.
Medical health is different to injury. Duncan, don't you get me started.
You said vino. Nice to see you. Duncan, you've just been held accountable. I have been. Yes, you're right. Megan from True Bliss. How cool. Exactly. We get everyone in here. Anyway, let's go and slam dunk.
It's the Slam Dunk.
How cool. Right, I'll keep this short and sweet, and I'll take all the complexity out of it because the power and electricity market in New Zealand is really complex and hard to understand. And I'll tell you what you need to know because the rest of it, you just get confused with all these sort of people talking about this weird market. Your power bill is high right now, isn't it? Because spot prices for electricity have skyrocketed. It means we simply aren't producing enough power for everyone, including businesses. So it's priced high, so people stop using it. It's like we're rationing it, and if we put a high price on it, some people will turn off, which is what we want in the market, which is a disaster for all of us, really. It's a complete disaster turning off the power. It's an unmitigated planning disaster to start with. It's simply unacceptable, and it's not defendable. It's so bad for two reasons. One, it's nailing households, and some people are going cold and potentially dying as a result. If you're old and not putting on the heater, you might die. And two, it's terrible for the economy because it says we can't produce anything more than we are because we don't have the power or fuel to do it. So we can't get bigger as an economy without turning the lights on. We're like a tin pot Eastern Russian town close to Siberia that just went dark and never came light again. That's where we're headed if we don't fix this and fix it properly. This is a massive battle right now, and the price of energy or electricity is putting some businesses out of work. They're closing the doors, and it's no longer economic to stay open. That's it. That's terrible for New Zealand. What does it tell us? We've become the international laughing stock, but it's no laughing matter, nor is it a matter of tiny consequence. Power runs the economy, and without power, it's lights out. So it's lights out for companies that generate jobs, which generates your ability to have a job and put food on the table for your family. So without power, we have nothing. Now, I don't want to be all doomsday about all this, but we simply haven't been building enough generation, so investment stalled. And it stalled some time ago into new power plants and renewable projects. The world and investors here shied away from New Zealand. They were unsure of if we were the right place to do business, to put money into the investment. And they did that after Jacinda Ardern turned the market on its head. Without warning, she cut oil and gas from New Zealand for the foreseeable future. It meant big companies left. Others were too scared to come and bet on New Zealand, so they stayed away. And so for the last 70 years, they've said, no thanks. And we've had decades of cross-party agreement, but now we don't. So the price in many ways is being paid now. Gas, which is extracted from the ground to heat houses, run big factories, how's this? It's skyrocketed. It's now 145% more expensive than this time last year. The gas coming out of the ground. This government has many urgent matters to deal with, but this sits on top of the pile. It's lights out if you can't even begin to work on the solutions for this government. It's lights out. This government must show it's got a plan. If it doesn't, then third world, here we come. Good morning. Right.
That was Duncan Garner.
Yeah, we haven't quite finished yet. So, that is us. Thanks for all your feedback coming in. James has said, Duncan, I'm not happy with the 4-generator electric companies. That's why I will never give them my business. I like Electric Kiwi. Their CEO's been trying to fight the system for years. That's why I use them. Good on you, James. Electric Kiwi's apparently good. Electric Kiwi's really good, apparently. I've heard them. They think that we're stupid to see what they're doing or don't care. Well, they're not doing anything. Lake Onslow battery would have supplied 12% of the grid, but the net's cut it. But, Dave, that was going to cost billions of dollars. It was billions of bucks, mate. And then, so why would other companies come into New Zealand and take on Lake Onslow, which is government funded? You simply would be you couldn't compete with them because the government's got a big checkbook. So that's why that's no good, mate. That's why National cut that. Anyway, that's us. Thanks for tuning in to Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief. Live with Lester's Oil, the premium New Zealand-made fish oil supplement backed by a study. Support joint, heart and brain health. Use the code Duncan for 10% off. Use that name and bang, you're away. Get cheaper. Abouthealth.co.nz. Take as directed. Read the label. About Health Auckland. That is us, folks. Thanks for your feedback. Thanks for calling in. And thanks for your emails as well. This will be available on Rover shortly as a podcast or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for your feedback and your support. I'm Duncan at rover.nz to my team, Miranda Forrester, and everyone else that's doing all the work. Thank you, guys. We'll do it all again, okay? Do it again tomorrow because life's no dress rehearsal. She's no curtain raiser. We'll get out and do it today. Take care, folks.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.